everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How y'all doing, folks? And I completely messed up my whole cut. Man, come on now, AJ. Let's do it again. Hey, good morning, folks. AJ, the CEO. And how do I sound? I hear an echo. Hold on. All right. Yeah, I was hearing an echo coming in through the system. Man, I've been having some technical issues this morning. We started early to get everything straight. I hope y'all can hear me well. Let me unmute myself for half a second. Man, come on now, AJ. All right, I sound fine. I've cranked up the audio as high as I possibly can for everybody who was saying my audio is bad. AJ, the CEO here. Thank y'all so much for stopping by. We come here every Friday to help try and answer anything media ministry related as best as I possibly can. I don't know everything, folks, but hopefully I make your trip a little bit easier in this whole path of media ministry, or what I like to call being an e-missionary, sharing the message throughout the world using whatever new technology is available: social media, live streaming, cameras, smoke signals, drones, underwater basket weaving, whatever it is, folks. That's what we try to do. I try and help as much as we possibly can, but hey, that's what we're here to do. So thank you so much for stopping by. We got a bunch of folks out here. And yes, I have been dropping some deep questions because we're going to take a little turn today and some stuff. We're still going to be answering your questions. And just to let you know, I have survived with the iPhone. Yeah, you see that pretty little girl right there? Look, that was daddy-daughter dance that we went to. Ooh, my pretty girl. But anyway, we got some stuff to talk about, folks, because, I mean, I'm in a different place right now because I've been doing some prayer and direction on what to do. And we've been talking about, Brian has alluded to this on our Facebook group, as well, on the next move of what we're doing and what the purpose of what we're doing is. But anyway, before I get into that, know that if I don't get to your question, folks, you can email me at questions@ajhomes.com. I would do my best to get in touch with you between 48 to 72 hours. It is just me and D, so give us some grace and some patience. But we're working towards that. If you have not become a part of the Facebook group, please go ahead and join that. It's like this 24/7 with over 2,900 media ministries from all over the world. So that's really awesome. And to help out the YouTube algorithm, would you please, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, because if you're watching and you're wondering why you can't leave a comment, you need to be subscribed to do that. That's what stops all the spam and all the nonsense from popping up on here. And then make sure you have your bell notifications turned on to all. That way you don't miss anything that we do. When we do the giveaways, we do all this other stuff, the impromptu stuff and everything like that. So let's go ahead and get over here. Let's holler at the good folks that are watching today. Anthony, what is going on? Carriers of the Covenant, starting off early with a question. We'll get back to that. How you doing, sir? John Cook, another one that was going on the cruise, the E-Missionary Cruise. Man, we got 66 days to go. I can't wait. Can't wait. Parker Jennings, hello, hello. Mr. Michael Baldwin, hello, hello. Streets of Destiny, what is going on? John Lansdowne, hello, hello. God's Promise, hey, how you doing? From Nigeria. Francisco, what is going on? Let's see. That's page 2. That's page. Mr. Clarence, hello. I was just up there in Baltimore Wednesday. I got to go back up there again Wednesday. Michael D, hello, hello. Bruce Adams, hello. And I'm gonna get to. I started 30 minutes early than I normally do. Just because I have a lot of stuff going on today, so I need some time. I got to get to Petersburg to go fix a security camera issue. Then I got to get back to Abundant Life. Y'all never even saw that video because I never edited it. The building that I installed everything, they sold that. So I had to disassemble everything, take the screens off the wall, the speakers off the ceiling, all this other stuff. That's why I needed a lift to get up there. Take all that down, and they're moving it to their other building. We have to set up everything in a temporary position in their gym. But that's what I got going on. And then I got a meeting in the middle of that. So I got 4 meetings right after that. So I'm going to be running. Philip Paul, hello, hello. Like I said, Brian Jones, I'm in agreement, T-minus 66 days. Lake Como Church, hello, hello. Mr. Keith, what is going on with ya? If I hadn't said it already, Mitch Roy, what's going on? You know who I is. Hey, what's going on? Elliot, what is going on, sir? Richard from Detroit, what is going on with you? The Blessed 1856. Hey, Mosley, hey, good morning, good morning. Is anybody new that I'm missing in here? Tom, hello from Florida. How you doing, sir? Patrick, stuff jumped right when I clicked on it. Patrick, what is going on? Hello, Ricardo. Hey, good morning from Puerto Rico. I was in Puerto Rico last year. In about a month from now, I would have been in there a year ago. I've been there a couple of times. Love it. Need to go back. In MA16V3, what is going on? All right, so we're going to start this off a little bit differently. I posted a question, and I want to get you thinking. So the first question was, what do you want to be remembered for? The reason I asked this is I like to have a purpose behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, for me, why do I do this? Why do I go buy all this equipment, go put all this stuff all over the place, stress myself out, dealing with, y'all know what I mean. We dealing with church people. We're dealing with people in general. Why do I go through that? Now, I did a video about why I do, but this is the reason why I want you to think about this. Why do you want to be remembered? My whole thing is wherever I've been, I want the situation to be better than it was before I got there. Because if I'm in a situation and it's worse when I'm there, then I personally feel there's no reason for me to be there. And another thing that's making me think about that, we're almost close to the time when my dad passed. He passed in 2003. And when he passed, it was a massive overflow of people at the funeral because my dad was a teacher for 30 some odd years, taught physics, chemistry. Then he also was a pastor. He also started a seminary school, which honestly is the one that's actually going to be honoring me with a honorary doctorate later this year in a couple of months. So not because he's my dad, but I'm just honored by that. But I say all that to say that he helped a whole lot of people, and a lot of people remembered the impact of what he did. So that's the reason I'm asking, what do you want to be remembered for? And again, it's not about being on a high horse, being, oh, I'm just so great. And no. My whole point is, like, I feel if you didn't leave a mark on, even if it's just one person, tough question that I ask myself, not you, I ask me, what did I waste that time for? If I didn't have any impact, if I was just here taking up space, why? Why am I doing that? And I asked that to reevaluate why we spend the time that we do. And the next question, it was a trick question, was if I gave you $604,800 today, what would you do with it? Now, that was a trick question because we're all given 604,800 seconds a week. How are we investing that time? Because that's time we're never going to get back. How do we invest that? That's why me doing this, I feel is a good investment because I want to impart something in y'all so that when I'm gone, it has impacted y'all in some way that y'all have impacted some other people, that those people have been impacted over and over again. That's me. So that's the reason I ask y'all. And that's why I always say I want to thank y'all for everything that you do, because you don't know how many people, just like I don't know how many people I'm impacting by my videos. I have my subscriber number, but it's way more people that watch than who are subscribed. So I say that to you. Y'all don't know how impactful what you do is, because some people will never tell you, Anthony, what you did, Keith, what you did, Michael D, you know who I am, MA16V3. No one will tell you. Everyone won't tell you how what you've done has been an impact. So that's why I ask, how do you invest that time? Are we wasting it? I'm guilty of this too. I play video games and I'm like, how is that? Yeah, that may have helped me. But for me, I I want my mission to be the more important thing. So anyway, just thoughts on that. We'll get back to that. We're still going to be answering questions. I ain't trying to derail it like that, but that's what I really want y'all to think about. All right, so let's go ahead and jump back to the first question. Carriers of the Covenant, good morning. If I understand you are streaming ATEM through OBS, are you controlling OBS with the ATEM? Could you do this also with Restream? If I'm wrong, exactly what are you doing? Thanks. Good morning. If I understand you are streaming, okay, my setup, I have, let's cut over to this camera. So what I'm doing right now is the ATEM Mini Extreme right here has all my cameras that you're seeing connected. That is connected to this, my streaming system right there that's running vMix. Now you see at the bottom, because I was having some issues with my web presenter today. So you see the little red box at the bottom right there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna zoom in. Not the Merry Christmas from my card from my pastor and his wife and Dr. Laura. You see those red buttons down there, meaning vMix, the computer that's on the table right now, that is handling my streaming. So it's using the graphics card, the CPU, the vMix software to stream to you. The vMix has, the ATEM has nothing to do with that. All the ATEM is doing is sending my video, of which camera you're seeing right now, and the audio. That's it. That is all it is doing. And all of the graphics and everything that you see, that's being handled by vMix. So no, the ATEM does not control OBS in any way, shape, or form. All it is sending video and audio to it. And OBS, or in my case, vMix for right now, is handling the encoding, where it's streaming to, all that stuff. So hopefully that helps you. John, good morning, y'all. Many blessings to each and every one of you and your ministries and services this weekend. May all your streams be trouble-free. Hey, I touch and agree on that one. Let's go to our next question here. Oh, back to John. Looking for a recommendation for a good audio extractor to place between an Apple TV and ATEM Television Studio HD. The RI didn't work. Green and purple cast for a second, then green. Now, I pulled this up. I'm going to show you the ones that I actually have used. So, excuse me. I had a piece of bacon, stuff got stuck in my tooth, so sorry. So this is one that I did earlier. This is what I did for I think Glen Allen Baptist. No. Yeah. This was for Glen Allen Baptist. No, I stand corrected. This was for Spring Creek Baptist Church. So this is standing in between their streaming bridge that's coming from the baptismal area, and then extracts the audio to go to the mixer so everybody in the sanctuary can hear it, because it's a separate building. And then the video goes back into their ATEM Mini Extreme. Now, the other one that I used, this one was for, what's the name? This one was for First Union Baptist Church, where it kind of does the same thing, but it's sending out digital to a TV. And it's done the same thing. I've used other ones. So these are the two, John, that I've personally used, and they work fine for me. So I'll put a link to either one of these down in the bottom. The most recent one is the AJayTech. That's the most recent one that I've used. So I will put that down below. If you give me a half a second. AJayTech audio extractor. And then I will put the other one here shortly. Hopefully those will help you. Now, just be mindful. Sometimes when you have that, especially with the ATEM Television Studio HD, realize that those don't, for everybody else that doesn't realize that those do not have a scaler, just like the ATEM Mini Extreme does, meaning that you can send whatever signal to the ATEM Mini Extreme and it'll just work. But the ATEM Television Studio, those need every input and output to be the exact same resolution. So if you're at 1080p 5994, everything has to be that. So I say that to say that sometimes some of these scalers, don't really do a pass through of the video signal. It changes the it changes the resolution. So another thing you could do, which is a little bit expensive. Now, John, this could be an option that you can add in there. Where is it at? Black Magic Design. This. So this right here will scale anything to your given resolution. So even if that extractor was doing some nonsense to its sound or whatever, or its video, this will convert it back to whatever it needs to be. So it supports all these resolutions. You set the dip switch, no matter what you send to it, it will output. This is what I did at a couple of churches where the computer couldn't handle a higher resolution. So it handled 1080i. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I put this in place because I didn't know if anybody was going to connect, if somebody brought their laptop in, an iPad or whatever. So they would plug into this and it would automatically convert the signal to go to their ATEM Television Studio HD, no matter what they plugged it into. As long as it wasn't higher than 1080p, then it worked that way. So I'll send that as well too. And I've used that quite a few times. Let me post that real quick. Monty, what's going on, sir? Got that. All right, let's go to the next one. I'm going to jump in on here. Anthony was saying to the question is, what do you want to be remembered for? Just being a good person that tried to help others. Awesome, awesome. And then, John, you heard me. Wow, you're going in deep early. Yes, I am. And he was saying, my service to the kingdom and how I love on people. I love to share my knowledge about the three things I know. I know well. Awesome. Michael D. Saw a church live stream online. Their PTZ cameras at times looked washed out on gray hair and white shirts and light carpet on stage. What settings are wrong or need newer cameras? Well, it all depends. It could be a couple of things without me actually seeing. It could be that the auto white balance is kind of too high. It could be messing some stuff up that way. It's a few things it could be. Without me actually seeing it, it's kind of hard for me to base it. But, I mean, it could be a settings thing. Because if it looks perfectly fine all the other times except for when it does that, it's a settings. If it was always bad, then I would think it'll be the camera. And then back to Anthony about that question about the $604,800 if I was given. He said that he would pay off debt, give to my church as tithe, and purchase a larger house in Michigan. Awesome. John, onto that question I asked. Someone who was kind to others, did the right thing, lived up to their word, treated people with kindness and respect, and tried to enjoy life and help people where I could and use my talents. That's awesome. Now, the reason I asked that, somebody posed this question, and it was really interesting. And I sit back, and again, I'm not trying to be real sentimental and emotional and stuff like that. Just had my dad on my mind. When my dad did everything, a lot of things, wrote books and stuff like that, I taught you. When he was on his deathbed, all he talked about is the things he regretted, the things he didn't do. If he had his life to do all over again, this is what I would do. You know, and that's the reason I guess when I heard that, and maybe I'm getting a little bit too transparent, but I mean, hey, whatever. When I heard that, that changed me with my dad. And I made it a mission as best as I can. I've tried to follow that as best as I can. When I get to my end of my life, I don't want to have regrets. You know, I don't want to be like, man, I wish I woulda, coulda, shoulda. Because that stuff you're never going to be able to undo. Like my dad, he said that he did all that stuff in real talk, because he said it himself. He said that he wished he had told me and my sisters more how much he was proud of us, or that he would have spent more time with us than doing all the stuff with school and church. So the reason I ask is, like, how many people, like, if we're in, again, I'm not trying to knock jobs, making income and nothing like that, but it just makes me sit back and think, how many people on their deathbed is like, man, I wish I would have worked more. Man, I wish I would have did this more. I wish I would have did that. and it just makes you think. Again, I'm not trying to tell you what's right or wrong. I'm just telling you that's where my mind is this morning. I just want to make sure that whatever I'm doing is an investment, because that's the time that we've spent so far. I can't get that back. And I hope that I'm not just saying something to be like, hey, man, AJ taught me something about media ministry. I hope I'm being transparent and showing you where my mind is of like, hey, I might know this, but there's so much more I want to strive to do than just this. I want somebody to be like, when they sit back and think about me, that is like, oh, yeah, he was a great dad. He was this, he was that. Yeah, he helped with this, this, and this. But he made a change. He opened the door to show what's capable, what's possible. That's just me. And again, I don't know why we're going down that path, but hey, that was on my mind this morning. John, I would take it and invest in real estate business and double it. Awesome, awesome. God's promise. I want to be remembered as the guy that created sustainable model system that stays functional and innovative even in my absence. Very, very good. Michael says he wants to return 3x tithe, pay car off, 7,000, and use the rest to help people. Awesome. Let's see. Bruce saying, I want to be remembered for striving for excellence in all that I do, timely and thorough. Awesome, awesome. John, I hope you got the answer. That's how many seconds are in a week that we're all given. Let's see. Let's jump over to what page we are on. Bruce also saying, as for the money, tie first, save the rest, figure out the best distribution, maybe upgrade my car. Gotcha. You know who I am. Good morning. I still having issues streaming from my A10 Mini Stream using the USB-C for Zoom or OBS. I've gone through 10 different cables and no change. Bad audio. It keeps failing out or no audio. All right. So what type of cable are you using? Because I'm using... These are the type of cables. I mean, these are the traditional ones I used to use, the red anchors. This is what I'm using right now. They don't make these anymore. I like the red because it makes it stands out. So these are the exact newer ones that are the gray. This is what I've used. But if you're having an audio issue, I need you to send me a sample of what it is, because I don't think it's the A10 Mini Extreme. This is an example, process of elimination. If the audio is bad, hook up headphones directly to the A10 Mini Extreme. Do you hear the bad audio there? So if you're not hearing bad audio here, or if you hook the HDMI out from the A10 Mini Extreme to a TV, is the audio all over the place there? If it's not the A10. And we just need to do process of elimination of how it's going. If you've gone through different cables, what are the settings that are going on with your computer? Is it something where the USB is turning on and off? It's kind of hard to say without actually me looking at it, but those are the first things I would test to make sure, is the audio just isolated to OBS, or is it isolated, meaning that the problem is actually starting from the A10 Mini Extreme and it goes from there? Because if it's always from the A10 Mini Extreme, you need to replace that. If it's working fine when you hook it up to anything else, headphones to a TV, whatever, but it's only through the USB. Or how about this? Try and stream directly from the A10 Mini Extreme just to see, is the audio garbled there? Because if you do it that way and there's no issue, then you can now focus all your attention on OBS. All right. Hopefully that helps y'all. John, no, it's the one I've had. I need to actually update it, make some changes as well too, but no. John also says, I would pay off a house, possibly retire so I can concentrate my time on ministry and AV, and probably fit some travel in there as well, and hook my church up with a sweet AV setup, or maybe some of the remodeling projects being planned. Tithe, of course, is first. That was his other part. Awesome. So back to, you know who I am. I'm starting to think it's the laptop giving issues. The picture is perfect. If I stream using the ATEM, the sound is perfect. Okay, so you answered pretty much what I said if I had read other comments. So I think it is your computer. What I would do is look through the USB settings just to see, do you have any type of audio stuff that's going on? I mean, USB settings. So if I cut back over here and we right click here, go to device manager, and we're going to come over here to our USB stuff, come down here to USB controllers and go through here in each one of these, go to power management and see, I don't know why mine did this, and uncheck this, because you don't want the computer to say, hey, allow the computer to turn this device off to save power. I don't need you to save power. I need you to function. And I know I've turned these off multiple times in videos, so I don't know why this is doing this again. I would check stuff like that first, but then go back after that. Most of the time it's your hubs that have the setting, and I have no idea why mine has done this on here. So even with my system, I need to go and check my other systems as well too, to make sure, because that's silly. I don't need you to power this off. Let me check these last three. All right, that's the first thing I would check, and do that, because even mine did that, and I know I've turned this off multiple times. Patrick, when you have an NDI PTZ and have both SDI and Ethernet connected, which signal gets live streamed? The SDI video or the NDI? I ask because NDI is more compressed. How would you verify? Well, it all depends on, like, are you streaming directly from the camera? I don't think either one would be that way. It all depends on what you have connected. So it would be the SDI if I have that connected to my video switcher or whatever is streaming. If you're doing NDI, it's gonna be that. It's whatever, however your camera is being connected to your encoder. That's what's gonna be used for the streaming. I'm just seeing the comments. Sorry. Let's see. Travis, hey, good morning to you. Anthony, I did a install at a church last week, and they didn't follow nothing I asked them to do to make sure they can stream. When I go back to them Wednesday night, they had all the settings messed up. Hey, I get that a lot. And I think that's what, now, I've been hemming and hawing. I've been one. I don't want to be the typical person that's like, I want to set up a course. No, I don't want to do that. But I do, like I said, at the phase where I'm at in what I'm doing, I am limited by me. And really, I know I had so many people come to me and they're just like, AJ, how come you don't have any interns? I was like, because honestly, some of the interns I've had are just straight out lazy. They don't want to do the work. They like, oh, this is YouTube, this is blah, 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 blah. And then they come and work. I put them to work. Like, y'all don't see everything I do. Oh, AJ works when I do the stuff. So I really am looking for people from my business standpoint and even from a YouTube standpoint, because I'm really looking forward to a video editor so I can get my hands off of this. I want to, from a company standpoint, want to hire an accountant to handle all the taxes and all the invoicing and all this other stuff. Like, at the point, I need to multiply myself, which is the same purpose, the bridge of how I say from a media ministry standpoint. And I did this on the last video when I did the tour of how I do my typical setup. You don't want to be the go-to man or woman for everything, because if you are for everything and you don't have anybody else coming behind you, then you're limited to what you can do and your time and your availability. So like with me, I want to get to the point where like, hey, it's not just me doing an install at one church. I want to go around and it's like, hey, we got 5 installs going on. Let me go take you on a tour for this week to the 5 projects that we have going on. Not just necessarily to be like, oh, look at how much money that AJ is doing. No, my thing is like the impact. Again, I go back to that first question. I want things to be better when I leave than before I was there. Meaning that I want it to be that now in my area, there is a viable solution of somebody who's going to be installing AV, has a ministry focus on it, is not trying to just ream you with how much it costs, makes it practical, and shows you how to effectively use it to help with sharing the gospel throughout the world. That's my impact. Now, I can only do but so much, but I want to bring on more people. So I don't know where that came from. Yeah, I don't know. I told you I'm somewhere today. So my apologies if I'm just going off on rants. Mom's video, hey, good morning. Darius, hello, hello. Franklin, hey, hello. Your audio is at -34. It should be at least -23 at least. It's almost 10 here, so still low. I got, let me show you. So, like right now, I'm coming directly, and I can't show you from this part. So let me turn this camera around. I know you're not gonna be able to see it. I can't see my can't see what my board is at. So with the Rodecaster, I'm at 2 notches down from the bottom. So I mean, I can't, if I go, I'm almost at the top right now by me turning that up right now, and it's blasting my ears out. So I'm there. And then on the ATEM, as you can see, I'm almost at the top right here. And then this is my input from here. So I don't know. I mean, this is where like I said, I went through, and my volume right now, I test everything at 50%. So to me, this is loud. But like I said, this is one of those things that I try and say that I try and work on it. But hey, this is something that I'm still trying to perfect with my stuff as well too. Streets of Destiny. A portion of those funds would be invested into housing for homeless, other funds toward church. Awesome. Travis, once upon a time, you were going to look into how to put a stream feed out over USB a stream feed out via USB rather than the aux out. Did you happen to stumble into that news? Are you talking about just how to stream a feed? I might be missing it, Travis. Are you talking about from a stream from what device are you talking about? Are you talking about just streaming the audio or the video and the audio? Let me know, because I might be missing what you're saying. Back to John. I saw one review on Amazon for the JTech where people claimed it fried their ATEM. That's why I was a little worried. I don't know how it could fry it unless it's boosting us. The only reason why it would fry it is if there was a voltage spike that went over the HDMI cable going into that. I don't know. I haven't had any issues, and they've been using that for about a year and a half now. So what I would probably say then, John, put that up down cross HD in the middle of that. There are Blackmagic does have equivalent devices that will split out the audio. It was one over here. It's the reverse of this. This is an audio to SDI where I can add audio and embed it. There's another one that extracts it, and it comes out of 1/4-inch cables. So I don't know. Maybe that's a possible solution, the reverse of this. But I don't know. I haven't had any issues with that. Francis. Hey, AJ, have you tried the SMT AV SMT BA30SW? I need to look that up so I know exactly which one it is. Hold on a second. Let's copy this. Let's open up a new browser. Let's go to the Amazons. I'm not getting anything. At least not that. Let's look this up. And what's that model? That's the BA30S. SW. Oh, that's just in white. Yes, actually I have. This is what I had installed at Community Independent Methodist Church. Now the 20N. Let's see, that's the 20N. Yes, I have. Yes, I have used both of them. What is your question in relation to them? But yes, I have used both of those. Back to John. Yep, we own 2 of those up-down cross converters and a boatload of bidirectional SDI to HDMI and vice versa converters. Awesome. My Stage Bully 1 says, how can you make a church overlay? Now, what type of overlay are you talking about? And how do you make a church? How you make a church into? Okay, I missed that part. And also, how do you stream off of the ATEM? I mean, well, that's pretty much if you're streaming off the ATEM. Let me remove my stuff here. Honestly, off of streaming off the ATEM, all you really have to do is make sure that you have an Ethernet cable connected to it, like I was doing this earlier. And under your output and live stream, pick your platform of choice. If you have a server option, that depends on what you select. Put your key in, and then select your quality. The quality is going to be dependent on your upload speed. Typically, I always start off with streaming at medium just to know what somebody's setting their upload speed is. If your upload speed is only at 10 megabits per second, I would say try medium or low. If your upload speed is 7, don't even try anything except for low. That's just it. But I mean, that's literally all you would do. You put it in there, hit on air, and that's it. Now, back to your question about the overlay. I need a better understanding of what you mean by that. Bert, yeah, kind of a stupid question, but what is a streaming bridge used for? That is awesome, and that's not a stupid question there, Bert. The streaming bridge is a device that Blackmagic made that does a couple of things. I actually had one, but I sold it to Spring Creek for the very same reason, that they needed it. So let me bring this up so we can talk about it. And wow, that's overpriced. So here, the streaming bridge, what this does is when you have one of these on your network, you can stream to it. So when I go here into the ATEM, when the ATEM detects it on the network, you will now have a platform that says streaming bridge. So how, and I actually did this and I should have saved it. Hopefully it did save it. No, it didn't. Yeah. All right. So this is how, let me design it real quick. This is how Spring Creek was. So they have their ATEM Mini Extreme in the sanctuary. They have a ATEM Mini Pro in the baptismal area, 2 different buildings. They do have internet. There's networked, all this other stuff. So if we have a camera, you know, they got the PTZs and stuff inside the sanctuary. Then they have the cameras in the baptismal area, all right? So this is connected HDMI 1. And I'm so used to using certain colors that it's out of habit. So this is how that's connected to the ATEM Mini Stream. But when we have the baptismal area, it's like, and John, I'm gonna tie you into this as well too. So we have the audio mixer. So the audio from here is going into the Extreme so that everyone inside the sanctuary can hear everything. All right. So when in the baptismal area, we weren't, because it was a separate building, they have like a dome and a tent, so I can't cut a hole in that because it's a canvas output, outer shell of the building. So not like we did in Alabama where we ran a cable. We couldn't do this here. But since there was already cables ran under the concrete, under the building that bridged it together, there's a network already. So the streaming bridge allows the ATEM to join the stuff. So this is on the network. This is connected with the HDMI out. So you see right here, it has an HDMI out here and an HDMI in. All right. So you could do it this way, but this is an HDMI out. So the way that makes me think. Anyway, I just had a thought for a second. So what happens is, since all of these are on the network, the ATEM now from the drop down list in here will show the ATEM Mini Pro inside of the baptismal area now has a platform called the streaming bridge. So instead of running video cables between the buildings, this camera's video and audio goes here to the ATEM Mini Pro, and this streams, instead of to YouTube, it streams to the streaming bridge. And in the ATEM Mini Stream in the sanctuary, this just shows up like it's another camera. So this streaming bridge is bridging network. So again, in this same setup, you can have somebody at home and you can set up a VPN. There's other ways to do this as well too. So if somebody's on the other side of the planet, you set this up, they could stream to your streaming bridge and it would be like it's another camera directly there. That's how that was. Now we actually have 2 of these in place. The second one was actually a Raspberry Pi made to function the exact same way. So in this setup, when they have a baptism, they send this camera feed into the sanctuary so that everybody can see. But this ATEM, because they're using OBS to stream in here. So if I add a computer, so we'll say this is the streaming PC. So this computer gets its feed from a USB cable, and I had the wrong colors. So that's USB. All right, so that's how it's streaming. So this ATEM is not doing anything. It streams to the second streaming bridge. All right. And this is hooked up, the HDMI out on the streaming bridge is connected directly to a TV in the baptismal area. So that way, when this happens, everybody in the sanctuary can see what's going on in the baptismal area when the baptism is happening. But when the family is there and they're in this area with whoever's getting baptized, they can see what's going on in the sanctuary. Again, they're not getting the stream with the graphics and everything. They're getting everything that's going there. Because if this one is doing a countdown, you don't want them to see that. So hopefully that makes sense. See, that's why like you diagram this stuff to clearly walk through this whole process. All right. John, I pulled the trigger on the AV cams for the new system on your recommendations. I will let you know how they work out. Awesome. Awesome. Antonio, what's going on? Ethan, hello. And Ethan answered the question as well, too. Streaming bridge is an encoder backwards, basically taking the stream and converts it to HDMI or SDI. Yep. Very simple version of what I just said. Quincy, what's going on, sir? Good morning. And you are welcome. Ricardo. Hello, I'm trying to download the AVCAN software, and this is what I get. Sorry, the file you requested does not exist. Has this happened to you? No, it hasn't. But let's check and actually see what I get. So we have avcans.com. Now, which software are you assuming? Oh, well, I'm assuming which one you're trying to download, but let me know. So they have the Upgrade Tool 2.9. They must still be uploading this, or they didn't save the share because this is new. This is they used to have 2.8, so that must be a new one. They must not have done the share, or the link is not appropriate. So that's on them, not on you. Let's see what else. Yeah, cause see that's the Mac version, and that's 2.7. CMS. Yeah, they must have made an update, and they don't have that the link done yet. Or it needs to be updated. So no, that's not on you. So it's something new. So the tracking software and this, both of those are kind of the same. But this and this, those links are not working. So I would say email support, let them know. That's what that is. All right. Back to Patrick. Cameras connected to the video capture device via SDI. Video capture connected to laptop via Thunderbolt 3. Camera and laptop also connected to the network switch using vMix. Yeah, so it's going to be over the SDI. That's what's going to be sending it there, Patrick. Rhonda, good morning. Streaming via OBS and recording on local drive. Is the recorded audio video the same as what is going to the stream? Does it include the audio filters, for example? Yes, technically it should. If you're not doing any type of ISO plugin or whatever is going out is exactly what's being recorded. Travis, actually, yes, I have done that, and I don't want to turn it on. I don't want it to cause any issues, but yes, actually, forget it. Hold on 1 second. Hopefully my audio does not go out here in a half a second. So yes, I actually had a video on it, and somebody gave me a good recommendation, and I'm trying to find out how to do that, and it's not working for me yet. But all right, we got this on. Let's cut back over here to the desktop, and let's open up our X32 edit. So it's connecting. All right, so right now, my streaming PC is connected over USB. That's what that is right there. And you can see my audio did switch over, even though I didn't want it to do that. Hopefully, y'all can still hear me. Hold on a second. It's on. Okay, yeah, so sounds like I'm still being heard. Let me know in the comments if the audio is acting up, please. So I have my audio being routed to channels 7 and 8. Hey, thank you for the subscribe. I have it routed here. So if I go here to my routing and I have it set to user, that's what I have mine set in. As my user in, channels 7 and 8 are going to my card 1 and 2. My card is the connection to my computer. All right. That's how I'm able to hear. So on my desktop, and I don't have screen converter on. Let me turn this on real quick. So let's open up our India Studio monitor. Going to, there you go. So this is what's being streamed. This is my streaming PC. So right now, if I go here to my to the system, as you can see, this is hard to control on 2 different screens. So I have the X32 is being detected as a sound system. If I go to my speaker, you can see it's set to go to card 1 and 2. So the audio from my computer is sending to channels 1 and 2 on the X32. That's where the audio out from the USB connection is going to. That comes in to here, and 1 and 2 is where my audio is coming from the PC, and I have 1 and 2 mapped to channels 7 and 8, which is what you see right here. That's what you see the audio going up and down from, because that's the computer playing back whatever, and that's all over USB. So I do have a video walking how I did that, Travis, but again, that's what I have set up here as well too. And I had another one of those cables around here. Must have put it in my drawer or something like that. But yes, that's how I have it. I don't have it on right now because I was having a few technical issues this morning with my sound. I was getting an echo, and normally I have a separate mix that I listen to, but I have to, it's a setting in vMix to not play back the audio on my main. I need it to play back on something different, but we'll work through that. Back to Francis. My question is, how do they fare with IP controls, and how long can you run the cables with them? With IP controls, I mean, that's fine. The length of Ethernet that's really supported before you have to do a boost or something like that is around like 300 feet, 300, 400 feet, something like that. I mean, I wouldn't try and push it. I mean, the IP is not going to be an issue. It's just going to be like if it's on your network. So if you're talking about a direct run from the camera to somewhere else, I wouldn't try something more than 300 feet. But if it's like for me, most of my stuff is I have it connected to a hub or a switch that is connected somewhere else. And it's just like it's any device on the network. So it's not going to be a limit like that. Now, if you're trying to run this on a 100 megabit network or something like that, yeah, you might have some problems based on the video stream that you're sending. But just realize for me, every time I've used a camera with sending video over IP, it has lagged behind audio. If you're just trying to do controls and stuff like that, no, ain't no problem with that. There's no limit on that. Ray L, God morning to you as well too. RC wants to know, what program are you using to create your diagrams? I am using draw.io. So we come back over here, take this off. They've changed the name, but it still works unless they change something. If I go to draw.io, that's it. That is what I'm using. I have the desktop version that you can get. Where is it at? It's around here somewhere. You can download the desktop version, and that's just what I did. But it's the same thing. All right. Keith, we had to move from a chapel to a small catering hall now to share sanctuary until the heat is repaired since December. The next time I hear just plug and play, had to take this Sunday off first time in 3A. Oh, wait, actually, hold on. 15 months. We are actively looking for a building now. Awesome. Well, I pray for a speedy, quick finding of your building. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I was talking with somebody. I was humoring with my girlfriend that I was like, if I ever bought a house, the real dream is for me to buy and remodel an old church into my house, but I would keep the sanctuary and that would become the studio. So just imagine, I mean, I like to dream big and think big and stuff like that. Just imagine if I'm still doing my YouTube stuff, that I could actually walk downstairs into an actual sanctuary with the sound and everything, and how, at least for me, I think that would be the next progression for me, because then instead of me having to go down to the church and move everything, I can have all of this stuff in an actual media booth inside of a sanctuary to test out. And the vision for me is to do that. And on Sundays, since I'm not going to be using it, is to rent that out to another ministry so they don't have to worry about all the infrastructure and stuff. That's long-term what I'm looking for, but I think that would be cool. Corey, how to present the idea to use computers for graphics and hardware control. We have the A10 Mini Extreme, but using it in the most basic form ever. The team is scared of computers. Help. Corey, you got to start somewhere. That's the same way how my church was. Originally, when I was at Antioch, they did everything with just what was installed. And the hesitancy of trying to add something new is real talk. This is just anybody. Most of the time when people are afraid of moving somewhere else, it's either a lack of control, because some people have been used to being the go-to person, knowing everything all day long. And when you add something new that's outside of their wheelhouse, they don't want to change because they're used to what they did to get this, and they don't want to learn nothing new. So for me, that was the same way I did. Originally, there used to be a hardware switcher at Antioch where they would press and on the distribution splitter. That's how the people set it up. It was a big 8x8 matrix, and press 1 to go to camera 1, go to camera 2. And it was a static change, a hard change. The screen would go black, then the other camera would go up. First thing that I did with that is I added an output from the computer to send the graphics that way. Then I added a switcher to that. So instead of that hard cut, it was a T-bar that would fade in between them. It's one of those things you just have to play around with it and slowly do it. So like, for example, the easiest thing I would do is add the computer to it just to put your announcements on it. Like whether you do presenter, pro presenter, PowerPoint, Google Slides, whatever, just slowly do it. It's like you trying to turn the ship. All of a sudden, if you turn the ship by 50 degrees, you're going to make everybody throw up or throw everybody off the ship. You got to slowly turn, but a turn is going to need to be made. That would be my suggestion, and that's how I did it there. Francis, AJ, how would you go about making a setup where you can show full screen projection in-house, but also be able to show full video in lower thirds if and when needed? Well, it all depends. I mean, what is your setup? Because, for example, if you did this with the ATEM, that's very simple. So if I came over here and go back to your question, bring it back up here. Your question is, how would you show full screen projection? What I would do in this scenario, because I actually have this right now, you're going to see, well, actually, you won't see it because I don't have the screen set up. So I need to switch over to my other camera so you can see it. So like right now, let me do output. We'll do program. All right. So like right now, if I cut over, and it's not going to do it this way. All right. We got to set it super source. All right. So if I switch over to this camera, and as you can see, this is simulating what's going out on presentation. But obviously, this is the camera that y'all are looking at. This is what's being sent from the ATEM. That's what I have picked. But I have my HDMI out locked to my presentation software. All right. So I'm going to actually change that now. So I needed y'all to get that understanding. So if I change that to my Mac, it's showing the graphics here. So so that's locked here, but the camera is, which I'm live streaming with, you see the camera, but my HDMI out is locked to this. So to easily change that, that's when I come back in here and change my output. Instead of it being locked to a given source, which would be your presentation, I'm looking at this camera, instead of it being locked to your presentation that will be just in the sanctuary, then you can change it back to program. And that's just a press, because now if I go back here, you're seeing exactly the same thing. It changes when I change it. But if I come in here to the outputs and say, oh, I want this to be locked to my overhead, that's what's always going to be here, no matter what. And I could be like, oh, hey, so at this point, we just want to see, scripture that's always going to be on the screens. That's what it's always going to be. But hey, I want to be able to show lower thirds and stuff like that. Let me switch it over here now to output. Let me set it to program, and now they're going to see whatever. That would be if you were just using the ATEM. All right. Now, if you have something other than that, that all depends. I need to know your setup, how you would do that. But yes, there are ways to do that. We did the same thing at Spring Creek. Spring Creek, the TVs in the sanctuary are directly connected to ProPresenter. So there is no direct feed. When we did that baptismal area, we were like, well, originally y'all wanted me to wire this to where cameras would never be shown in the sanctuary. But then situations changed. Well, we wanted to have cameras in the sanctuary, mainly the baptism. So we connected the ATEM to, need some water. We connected the ATEM to ProPresenter over USB. So now we were able to do a video input that would show everything. Hopefully that makes sense. I have a bunch of walkthroughs through that. That's why a lot of people most people are very nice in the comments, but a lot of people wonder, why do I keep doing the diagram? Because the hardware is simple. How you put it together to develop your workflow, that's the difficult part. We have, if y'all seen, out of the 200 and some installs we've had, we haven't changed equipment. The workflow has been different. And hopefully you get the idea of like, oh, AJ did it this way to where the ATEM is streaming, but the HDMI out is locked to presentation, so nothing is ever seen. That's how we did that at New Hope, in Gainesville, in Oxford, North Carolina. They have the ATEM Mini Extreme, and the HDMI out is locked to ProPresenter. That's what's only shown inside the sanctuary, but everybody else on the live stream sees everything. But at Antioch, we did the exact opposite. Whatever shows up on the screen is exactly the same thing that's being sent to OBS. And OBS streams with the graphics, but they're not using any graphics at all. But then at Signs and Wonders, we use the ATEM Mini Extreme. We lock everything inside the sanctuary to nothing but ProPresenter, but all the other TVs inside the church see the feed coming from the ATEM, but then we also send the feed to OBS so the people on the live stream see something completely different. See, it's all in the workflow. The hardware can do multiple things, but I do the diagram to show you just how unique it can be, even with the same hardware. So hopefully that makes sense. John, I'm working on a new system configuration. It is 3 AV cans, NDI cameras, a PoE switch, a Ryzen 6000 series PC, and vMix. Can I get away with no ATEM? Yeah, you could. You could. And with vMix, everything would have that in there. And if you really want to save, go with the higher end version of vMix, and then you can control and set the positions of the camera directly in vMix itself. Yeah, so you don't need an ATEM in that type of setup. Back to Ethan. AJ, have you heard about ChatGPT? Yes, I have. Have you thought about any ways AI can help media ministries, like with scriptures, lyrics, content creation? Yes, I've been dabbling with that. Been trying to get into it myself and set it up. How I would use ChatGPT is have, again, being very thorough with this, is have it be in an intelligent way to interact with people if they have questions about the ministry or engagements, looking for stuff about like, hey, I need help with prayer and this and this, or more importantly, Chat GPT. If y'all don't know, it is an AI based intelligent talking system. It's really scaring some people. I think it's kind of cool on how it can be used, because I mean, you can take anything and make it an extreme and make it bad, but you can just as easily as it can be used for bad, it can be used for good. I think of using it to intelligently help people, guide them in the direction of what they need from a ministry standpoint, that you can program it and to tell it to be like, hey, help in this area. That's what I would think. Or have it be an interactive type. Now, this is me thinking off the top of my head. Just imagine if you're teaching Bible study, Sunday service, or whatever day that you're doing service, and people have questions that delve deeper than what the minister or pastor is preaching about. You have to be wise how this is doing it, but it can help being like, oh, he's preaching about the 5 stones that David had that he picked up when he was fighting Goliath. Well, it was only one giant. Why did he have 5? Why did he do that? And then be able to ask that chatbot, Chat GPT, about that. And then it talks about like, oh, the other stones were for Goliath's brothers, or the other giants that were available, that were there that could have caused threats, stuff like that actually engage. That's what I think. But again, I'm not one of the ones that is very fearful about technology, because I mean, for the same benefit of it can do harm, it can do good. Everything that's been out there that has done harm to people, there is a good component to it, because every good and perfect gift comes from God. It's meaning that nothing is made with the sole purpose of it being evil. People make it evil. Which reminds me, I went off on a little rant the other day. Let me see if I can do it, because somebody was saying, oh, Tesla did a recall of this many cars and this and this. Hold on, let me see. Tesla recall. So where's it at? Yeah, so this one, I love this. People talk about like Tesla did a recall of 362,000 cars because of a crash risk because of their beta software. For anybody who's a programmer, beta doesn't mean that it's fully released. And then I want to see, we gotta understand the terminology of how this stuff is worked. So does it show this one? I want to get the actual write up of what the recall was. Yeah. So a lot of people saying, "Oh, it has this many issues." If you look at most of the recalls that people don't talk about, let me crank this up. Has a recall. Oh, we're gonna recall all this, and you know what the remedy is? An over-the-air update. Guess what? People do fear and stuff because of change. Guess what? If you have an iPhone, which I have one now, as well as your Android or your computer, do you consider your computer or your phone getting a complete recall from Microsoft or Apple when it has to do an update over the air, or when ProPresenter needs an update, or when the Blackmagic switcher needs to get an update? Is that called a recall? No. I had to educate somebody. It's like, they're recalling all these cars. I didn't send my car back. It did an update and it downloaded and it's fixed. I don't know. I don't know where that rant came from either. But it's like a lot of people, they just go off of group think. And the one of the biggest things that I hope y'all get from this, and you know from me, is most people don't think. They will take whatever somebody tells them and just go at it as if it's factual. And they have literally handed off the responsibility of thinking to somebody else. So that's why I say, like, hey, I'll tell y'all what I do, but I need y'all to go and test this stuff out yourself. Don't just automatically be like, AJ knows everything. And I tell you, I don't know everything. I know I figured stuff out at this point in time for me, but please just don't think. Most people don't think. I always tell my daughter that. It's like, why did you do that? I don't know, Daddy. No, I don't accept. I don't know. There's a reason why you did everything. Again, I don't know why I'm going on the rants, but my bad. Ricardo, hey, you are welcome. Tele-independence. Using that Mini Pro because I had the camera audio and mic one on. I have an echo on my recording. How do I fix it? Turn off the camera audio. Because when you have mic, like right now, if I turned on the mic on this camera, it would get an echo because it's picking me up and it's picking this one up at the same time, and it's mixing them together. That's why. So for me, when I run my audio, if I go back to my ATEM right now, the only audio that is on is just the mic one. As you can see, if I turn this on, it would give an echo because it's capturing my audio twice. So if you're using that type of setup, only have your mic on the one input that you need. Ian, great work. Thanks for sharing. Blessings from sunny Spain. Man, I want to go to Spain so bad. Thank you so much, Ian. Jumped on me. Philip Pole. Hey, AJ, what is the minimum specs to run OBS software, not streaming, just receiving video from a static camera, then doing zooming in OBS, then sending to my ATEM Mini Pro? I mean, well, it all depends. That's subjective. I mean, if it's on Windows, I would say don't use the minimum. If you're using Windows, you need at least 16 gigabytes of memory just to run that. And then I don't feel anybody should have a processor less than 4 cores now. You just shouldn't. That should be more than enough. Don't do like a 1 gigahertz or something. Try and go at least for a 2.5 or gigahertz or something higher is best just for that. That's what I would think. John, that heater off must be contagious. Heater is broken and not running in my wing at work. I just heard that the guy across the hall that the replacement part wouldn't be in for 8 weeks. Oh, Lord. Running out to Lowe's at lunch to buy myself a space heater. Man, I have a fan. Y'all heard it a couple of times. I normally have this fan down here below because with all this electronics, it is very warm here. Cletus, good morning. I was looking into using ProPresenter to do it all, present and stream, and cut out OBS. Would you recommend this or continue to use OBS? I refuse to use ProPresenter for streaming. Not because I don't think it's inadequate. If ProPresenter fails, you've lost presentation and streaming. I have all of my stuff separate Because when I used to do this earlier, I used to stream and do this from the same system, and I've had issues. So for me, right now, if this computer in front of me crashes, it has absolutely nothing to do with this stream. That's the reason why I also used, I don't know why the web presenter is giving me problems right now. That's why I did that. I have my stuff separate. I personally, if it was me, I would still keep OBS in place because I just don't. Pro Presenter is good, but it still crashes. Not as bad as it used to, but it still crashes. I'd rather remove responsibility and have each one of my things only do one thing at a time. That's just me. Kingsley, what's the best laptop you would recommend for live streaming, assuming I have 3 cameras, a mixer, sound card, and I intend streaming to 4 platforms, including Zoom? I'll stay capture Zoom via desktop. Well, it all depends. How are all those cameras being connected? Me personally, my system that I use for a similar setup, like we're for the 3rd year in a row, I am very thankful that we are handling Prince George High School's graduation. So I'm going to have my A10 Mini Pro ISO with me, have my Canon, and I don't even have it on, the Canon right there, and I need to get another one. Oh, that reminds me, I need to get another Canon camera for an install I'm doing. I forgot. But anyway, we're going to have Canon right here. And that's going to be one where I'm in the crowd with the students. Another one that's on the stage for graduation. For me, I use my Acer gaming laptop that has dual GPUs. So that was a Nitro. And man, they do the most to keep pushing the Intel version. So I just selected that one. So this is the newer version of what I had, but the one I have has the AMD graphics card and it has a 1660. So I have 2 graphic cards in mine. I think this is actually it. No, it's not. Mine has 2. So I'm able to leverage recording and streaming on 2 different graphics cards, and I'm not even leveraging the CPU in any way in that type of scenario. That's how I use mine. A gaming laptop, specifically, if you get something with a 2060 or higher, then you should be good. That's more than enough horsepower to do that. Please make sure you at least have 16 gigs of memory. Don't do this 8 gigs of stuff at all. Like me personally, I added 32 to mine. So that's what works for me. Let's see. Claudette. Good morning. OBS was updated on the church's computer. I'm now having problems with live streaming to YouTube. The video is freezing up. What should the video settings on OBS be? There wasn't a problem. Yeah, I've had this many a time that people have done this unwittingly and accidentally and purposely, I meant to say. So OBS, for whatever reason, it has made a change to some stuff, and you just got to work through it. So the first thing you need to do, so you see, this is actually me bringing in video over IP. So you see I'm pointing. You see how long that is? That was over IP. That's the delay in this. But anyway, what you need to do inside of this is first, if you're using, let's go to settings. And what you need to do is go to your output. And for whatever reason, they made a change to the encoder. Make sure that because originally it just used to be encoder and they didn't have any settings. Make sure it's not on software. You select it. I have an NVIDIA graphics card, so that's why it has NVENC. If you have AMD, have that. If you have a GPU and nothing is showing, download the latest drivers for your graphics card, and it should add this back. Make sure this is not on software and pick that. I personally, somebody asked me, for the settings of this in advanced, I don't use advanced because for me, if I did this, look at all these settings. And if somebody came in here and touched this with a church that's not savvy enough to know what this is, that would be a nightmare for me to troubleshoot. That's why I always build my systems the exact same way that I know work. So I keep it on simple, and I set the encoder this way, and I change the bit rate based on what the upload speed is. So long story short, verify this. Make sure you're not on software. If you don't have anything, verify that if you have a GPU, like for gaming and stuff like that, if you're missing it and you know you have a GPU, download the drivers for that, AMD.com or NVIDIA.com, and you should get this reinstalled and switch it back to that. That's what I would think, because I had that a couple of times. Somebody, a church made this change. They changed it, and they're like, oh, it's not working. I was like, did you upload OBS? Yes. Update OBS? Yes. That's the problem. No, it's not. Okay. I went in there, and that was when it was the broken version of OBS 28. I uninstalled 28 and put it back on 27.24. Everything worked. I was like, I tried to tell you. Anthony, back to what you said. Hey, I tried to tell you. Monty is in complete agreement. Workflow. Yep. That's what it is. Philip Paul, hey AJ, have you used a headphone amplifier before? One stereo in, 4 headphones out. Is it possible to use for a simple wired? No, I have not used one of those, but technically that should work. Sasha Lee, hey AJ, is there a way to get a split HDMI out on the A10 Mini Pro? Well, I mean, to split to have the exact same output or something different. If you want something different, no, it won't work. If you want to split it, I do that. You can't see it. I have a 1x8 HDMI splitter in my rack here under the table that splits to my streaming system, my view that's behind me, and that monitor that you can't see right there. So hold on, let me turn it on. I need a Reese cup. So that shows me the same thing. So when I'm here on the screen, I can see from here. So it sends a duplicate to that screen, my streaming system, my ATEM, and I still got 5 other outputs to split. If you want it to be different, no, it will not work that way. Hey, just being real. Just being real. Scott, just upgraded to ProPresenter 7. Videos in motion backgrounds freeze for the first 7 seconds, then start moving into the video. Does not do that on the same computer. Any ideas? Scott, where are the media? Where is the media located that ProPresenter is using? ProPresenter has, just like old Outlook had a defect, and I still don't know if Outlook they ever fixed this. When you had Outlook, the Outlook database file for your mail, once it got to 2 gigs, it just started acting crazy. ProPresenter 7 is kind of the same way. If your media store of where you're keeping all your media gets too big, it'll start slowing down. Or what I've done, I used to have everything running on my NAS, and that's how ProPresenter linked to it. It had a problem with that, so I had to put everything locally on the computer. Check one of those. That's the first thing I would think if you're getting that performance issue. All right, I see some folks, they're sending links. Yeah, links do not work in here. I have that blocked. Hey, you are welcome. Thank you. Otis, howdy from Texas. Derek, hello. I'm looking into the AVCan's AI auto tracking PTZ camera, but notice that the software only works for Windows, and I've run all my streaming on the Mac. Would I be able to use it in my setup? You would, unfortunately, if they don't have, I haven't tested this. So this is what I would think. If the system works the same way. And again, I don't know this. This is just a test for you to try out. I would go to PTZ Optics, download their software. I believe they do have software for the streaming stuff. That application for the auto tracking. See if theirs works, because most of the time, a lot of these things are built on similar chips, and they can actually talk to them the same way. Oh, never mind. They don't have it. It's only I downloaded it and it's an executable. So no, it seems like the auto tracking one doesn't have. They have a Mac equivalent right now. So no, I'm sorry. It looks like that wouldn't work. I mean, but just realize that that's just to set up the tracking. So I don't know why they don't have that. So no. If you need it, can the camera still work on your setup? Yes. Can you engage and set up the auto tracking through software on a Mac? No. Now, I mean, be honest, if you have a Mac, you could have Parallel running on that you can run Windows stuff and just download it. That would probably be a way to work around it if you still needed to do it on a Mac. Back to Jeffrey. Currently, we're using XSplit for our streaming. We also bought the Famaco IP controller bundle. Do you know how to display more than one camera on the live stream? In XSplit, it has been a minute since I've used XSplit. So I'm assuming that now, honestly, what I would do with that is I would add an ATEM into that and have all the cameras go to the ATEM so XSplit only sees one feed. But I'm getting ready to download. I remember XSplit used to be free. But let me see. Oh, they don't have a free option no more. I need to, ooh, excuse me. Man, I remember XSplit used to be free. I don't know. I'm going to have to get my hands on playing with it on how to actually do that. But the concept is if you're connecting the cameras over a signal over your network, it looks like you would have unlimited scenes, and you would probably have to set an input for each scene, which will represent the different cameras. That would be my assumption without me looking at it. I need to see if I can reach out to them, see if they'll give me a copy to play around with it or something like that. Facelift Promotions. That's a serious name. Hello. I'll get you a question here in a second. Carlos, you with this, but as you can see, it is delayed. I'm waving my arm like crazy, and I don't know why it went out. It just did. All right, so actually, let's go and set that up so I can just show you, and there it goes back again. Let's go back and let's set this up again. Let's delete all of these. 81. First, you need to make sure that the camera supports this. The font's way too big. All right, we're going to go to configuration. We're going to go to stream publish, and we need to turn this on. So I turn this on. That is my protocol that I'm using, and that's our path. This with that URL at the end. So let's save that. And as you can see, that's the path that I use to bring that video in. All right. Now let me make sure. So can you use it this way? Yes. If your camera supports it, yes, you can. But realize that is a significant delay compared to what I have live. And I don't know why this is going in and out like that. Oh, well. So yes, you can. So do you have to have an HDMI cable to it? No, you don't. But just realize, and now see, and just like that, now it's back up. I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, just be mindful that yes, it could, you don't need an HDMI and you can pull it over that, but then you just realize you're going to have to do some constant syncing to make sure that the audio is there. Because as you can see, this should be live, but this is, I'm going to hold up the deuces right there in front of it, show you how long that is. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's about 4 seconds behind me doing this live. So you're going to have to put a significant delay on your audio to keep it in check. And that's just for one camera. If you have multiple cameras, they have different sequencing and timing for each one. So you got to be real careful. That's why I personally don't do the IP one unless it's for something that I don't need to sync my audio with. Fellow independents, we talked about this earlier. Well, first I need to know what your setup is, but if you're getting an echo in OBS, it's most likely that you have 2 mics that are being turned on, whether it be in OBS or with your ATEM. So me, if I turned on, I'm not going to do it now, but if I turned on my mic on my camera number 1 that's going on right now, you would get the audio from this and the audio from this, which will cause an echo. So you need to have one unified input of your audio, and that should resolve the echo. Back to Claudette. I was trying to set up ProPresenter to present and stream and not use OBS anymore, but I'll take your advice. ProPresenter stream was glitchy though when I did test it. Again, I don't know everything. Me personally, I do that not because ProPresenter is inadequate in doing it. I just know I've had too many issues that ProPresenter would crash in the middle of service, and then I'd have to restart the software. If it was handling the stream, I would have to restart the stream, depending on how you're streaming. If you have it end automatically, you would have to set the stream back up again with Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're streaming. Look how much of a hassle that is to have to redo that in the middle of service. That's why I wouldn't do that. Philip Paul, hey, AJ, how do you set your ATEM audio for not to be static audio in your live stream? Well, it's your connections. I mean, I really didn't set up anything. I have shielded cables that's going from my Rodecaster right now into here, or I have dual XLR to 3.5 when I'm using my X32. And then sometimes if I did have static, well, I don't have static. Let me think that about it. If you're getting static, make sure that your ATEM is not set to mic instead of line. That's the first thing I would check. If you're having a ground hum, that's when I would add something like this and put this in between my mixer and then the output that goes to the ATEM, which kind of dulls out the RF hum. Skip that because they're helping everybody in between. Back to Cletus. Yeah. Would you recommend 2 different computers for presenter and OBS? That way my ATEM and OBS would still function without driving. Yes, that's exactly how I have mine. I have my streaming PC over here that is still connected to my ATEM, even though my ATEM is right here beside me. That's how I have mine. And that's the same way I have mine at church. Ultimately, at Signs and Wonders, we had a ProPresenter system and then the ATEM. We were streaming everything from the ATEM. But I added OBS back because we needed another filter to, because sometimes the praise team would practice all the way up till 5 minutes before the stream and we couldn't do our countdown. So I still wanted to have the countdown be a 15-minute before, and they had an environment, and then it was separate. So that's why I added another system to that. MA16V3, save your profile and scenes as a backup in OBS. So if someone clowns around in your OBS install, you have a known working, possibly outdated config. Yep, I completely agree. Are you able to point me in the direction of how to install a radio station setup providing my own server online? Currently, no, I don't have anything like that. I used to do that back in the day, which was with Winamp. Back in the day, no, I currently don't have anything right now with that one, but I might have to revisit that one for you. Back to Anthony. I created a 3-page guide for this particular church. The pastor wants me to come on Sunday to run the system for them. I gave him my fee for doing so, and it seems like he really don't want to pay. That's the whole thing, folks. It's like that. That was the cause of book number 1, and book number 2 is kind of talking about the same thing of like, it's at a point now, whether churches like it or not, and I still got a bunch of ministries like go into this. I held my tongue here for a second. There's a bunch of ministries that are still 3 years in going kicking and screaming that I don't want to do this. Like that, the equivalent, when I hear people say stuff like that, Anthony, you know what I hear? I don't want to have running water and plumbing in my building. Do you see how stupid that sounds? And I'm saying this on purpose. And I don't mean to be offensive, but do you see how stupid that is? I don't want electricity in my church. That's how stupid that is. At this point, media is essential. Media is essential to not just help get your message across. Let's forget the live stream, for example. Why should I put scripture and stuff on the wall? What about those older saints that maybe their eyesight is failing them? And you can blow up the text big screen right there so they can see. What about those people that want to come to your church, but guess what? They don't speak English. And you have another translator that's able to send a different audio feed over the radio or whatever so that they can hear that. Guess what? That's media that's doing that. That's technology that's doing that. What about when you want to give a dynamic presentation of your sermon and it's a video? Oh, how you can see it? Oh, you need screens and a computer hooked up to it so you can show that video instead of you trying to reenact it with a skit. Wait a minute. Hey, guess what? You need technology because maybe somebody can't hear you talking at the top of your lungs. So you need a mic system and speakers so that people can hear you. Oh, what about the people that are the greeters that wait out in the entrance and they're not in the sanctuary and they want to be able to hear the service and they want to be able to see the service? So you have a TV and you need a video distribution so that people can see that instead of them peering inside the door to see what's going on. This is what I'm talking about. People keep fussing, only looking at media in one standpoint when it is essential. It's not a good thing to have. It is essential. Now, I'm not talking about live streaming. I'm saying that the media, that component is needed that now has diversified itself on what its capabilities are. So to say I don't need this is short-sighted. Like, again, I don't even do this. Another thing I want to do is set up another camera on another side of the part of the church or in a secluded area in the church and have somebody on camera that is in a picture-in-picture on the screen who can actually sign language what's being done. Because guess what? There's some people, I know our ministry and a bunch of ministries I've dealt with, she ain't doing that. They're not reaching those type of people that have that difficulty. What about the people that, hey, they don't speak your native language? Are you catered to a Spanish-speaking audience, whatever type of speaking audience from your ministry? I mean, again, there's so much other stuff that we can do. And I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but, it was going back to what you're talking to pay, meaning that stuff is not free. You're going to have to pay for that sooner or later. And again, I get this, and I'm going to be really, really transparent with this. This is not bragging. I am thankful for this. My business last year, when I looked at stuff, my business cleared $500,000 last year. I never even saw that coming at all. Now, what does that mean? That means that I'm able to help out and do more impact of what we're doing. But guess what? A lot of times when people hear that, they're like, well, AJ, why are you charging for that? Now, when I was an ETL developer, I made $82,000 a year programming. That was around $32.50 an hour doing what I was doing for 8 to 10 hours a day. So if that's what my job was paying me, I set my rate on what I do. Right now, if you do a consultation with me, it's $100 an hour for my time because that's my time. That's stuff I'm never going to get back. Well, we go back to the beginning of what we talked about. It's your time. So for those ministers, pastors, churches that don't want to pay somebody, that's somebody's time that they invested in learning how to do efficiently and professionally what you're asking them to do for free. No, it's not about railroading the church. It's about, do you appreciate your time? Me personally, I've done a lot of stuff that I've done. Like for 15 years of me playing the piano, I was not paid. I never asked to be paid. I did it for my calling. But at this point now, if you want me to drive from Hampton, Virginia, back to Lynchburg, which is a 4-hour drive for me to play, and you have an issue with paying me, that's a problem. Because that was 4 hours, 8 hours both ways that I'm never going to get back just to play for an hour. And you have an issue paying for gas? No. You are paying for people's skill set, their knowledge, and this. When would y'all ever go back to your job if they're saying no? We just expect you to do what you're doing, and we ain't gonna pay you. That's what that sounds like. And again, let me get off my rant. Ezekiel, AJ, God bless you. Have you tried any 10-volt, 3x, 10x, and 20x PTZs, and what's your take on it for a very small church in India for basic streaming? For the most part, I've worked with one of them. I mean, the concept is the same. The only thing I've noticed with those cameras is there is no RS-232 pass-through, meaning that you can't daisy chain those cameras together. There is no way to control it like over IP. You actually need to have a RS-232 or RS-422 connection directly to the camera, which would cause, if you had multiple cameras, you would have to have a joystick for each one. That's the only issue I saw with them. In the grand scheme of things, they work great. So hopefully that helps you. Back to Carriers of the Covenant. Is there a way to see a USB camcorder to the to HDMI? No, because the USB feed coming from a camera or a computer or everything is not the same thing that's interpreted by HDMI. You would need something. That's why I use OBS as that pass through. OBS can see the USB and convert it, and then you do an HDMI out on a computer and it convert it. That's the easiest way I've seen that. Sasha Lee, you are welcome. Also, Scott, thanks. We'll check total size of the library. Not sure about the total size, but everything is on a local SSD. Yeah, it's ProPresenter. Yes. If it's on an SSD, just check the size of it. I've had to shrink mine over time as well too. Isaac, can you demonstrate how to add Bible verses and songs into ProPresenter, please? Sure. I have a video on it, but I would do this real quick for you. Do I have, let's open up ProPresenter. Boom. And I like to use hymnary because it just has a whole bunch of stuff, hymns there. That's easy to do. And there's multiple ways you can do this. What's the song? I know. Lord, guide my feet while I run this race. Is that it? Lord, guide my feet. Yes, that's it. All right, so this is how I would do this. You got a couple of ways you could do this. You could copy this like that. Come into ProPresenter, come into File, Import, Text from Clipboard, because I just copied it. And then there we go. So if I do import just from there's the whole thing. Now, personally, that's messy. So this is how I would do that. I would open up a notepad here, and I'd copy all of that. Let's go back to hymnary. And I got too much stuff open. Close. Back to hymnary. And I take the title. Now, ProPresenter has some keywords that will make everything work for you. So me personally, I'll put the title there at the top. I'll do verse. Take that space out. The space, verse. Space, verse. Space, verse. And if there was a chorus, I would do the same thing. You would just put chorus. And I'll actually do that. Chorus. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So now we could save this. I'm going to do it both ways. Let's save this to our desktop. Call it Guide My Feet. So we're going to do it two ways. So we can come in here, go File, Import. I want to import a file. And let's do that Guide My Feet. And if we do import, look, boom, it split it off of the verses that we did. Now, another way we could do that, let's delete it again. We could just copy it, do import from text, import, did the same thing from memory. Or This is what I personally like to do. Let's do that again. Copy it from this, but I like to edit it. And in here, you can see the breakdown of here. So for me, I don't need this title. So I'm just going to take this title, give it a name, put the artist, put the publication, put your CCLI stuff, do the year, all this other stuff. And I don't need this first slide. So I'm going to delete that one because I don't need it. And then you can come in here and edit whatever that you need, import it, and boom, there you go. Those are 3 ways that you can do that. So hopefully that helps you. That works with any song. Like if I did any of the other songs the same way that I've done, Let the Praises Ring, did the same thing. I Love You, Lord. That's the same way I did this. Same way. You know, He is Lord. Actually, that's the old one. Same way. So hopefully that helps you. And I do have a breakdown video of doing that exact same thing as well, too. Derek. Thanks, AJ. I figured the camera would work, but was concerned about setting up the auto tracking since we have multiple people that I would need to track during service. Hey, you are welcome. And I've thought about parallels and may go down that route. Appreciate all you do. Hey, you are welcome. Glad to have helped. Corey was saying, what's that Bible doc? That is the Bible lower thirds and OBS from First Fruits. Did a video about that, and he did some great work with that. If I bring that up here. So if I came in here and I need to turn this off, turn that off, turn that on. And if I had the Bible doc here, if I put in, you know, Psalms 100, and I picked this. Hold on, where did I put it at? Do I have it off? I think I don't have it on. I need to do a Bible source. Actually, let's just go to First Fruits and look it up. And it's the online version. I need the link. So we got all of that. There's the browser. I need to copy this. This Bible. Whoop. Call this Bible. Give it a path. Give it the dimensions. 1920 by 1080. So now, if I click on this, there it is. That's what it does. So it gives you any scripture. This is the free version. There is a version that you can pay for that you can add your own version using OpenLP to import different versions of the Bible. I do not have that. I have the free version, but there's a bunch of people that do use this. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. Carlos, hey, you are welcome and thank you. Otis wants to know, what is the MSRP for the EU80? I'm going to let you see it for yourself. There you go, Otis. John, can you bump audio in vMix? That's the final piece in your workflow, isn't it? Yes, I have. I actually have bumped it up. I actually brought it down just a little bit because when I do the music at the end, it blasts. So that's what I was playing with earlier. So yes, for each source inside of vMix, you can set the levels. Originally, it was at 100%, and I boost up this, but then all of my graphics and stuff, I drop a little bit. Yes, sir, I am. Yes, I am. So let me show you where we're at right now. So the first book was called Modern Media Ministry Made Easy. Now, book 2, which is very much delayed but not denied, Modern Media Ministry is now necessary. And this is more of a user guide of where you pick a topic and I kind of walk through steps on how you would implement that. That's what that one is. And then in my mind, we have a book 3 that's coming, thoughts of that, but I need to finish this one before we go on that. So yes, it is. Y'all need to stop messing with me. Hey, I'm just trying to be real. Back to Jeffrey. I sent you an email yesterday regarding my previous question. If you reply to the email, I can provide my cell to talk if you like, unless you want to come to Florida. I'm going to be in Florida when we go on the, where's it at? Where's my picture at? No, not that one. No, not that one. See, I'm pressing the wrong button. Not pictures, not news alerts. There we go. That E-Missionary Cruise. Woohoo! We'll be in Florida then, April 24th through the 28th. Guys, you don't want to miss it. Brian's excited. John's excited. I'm excited. We got Phyllis, Creative for Fun, is heading as well too. D is heading there as well too. So, I mean, we're going to be having a blast. I got a massage set up because, man, I'm beyond excited. And what button was it? There we go. No, and I still got the wrong button. There we go. So yeah, so excited about that. Otis, wisdom. Sometimes you need selective clients. Exactly. Yeah, AJ Rant channel. Y'all funny. Back to Cares of the Covenant. During the height of the pandemic, our church had a 10 by 10 screen on parking lot, showing service for people who did not want to come in. And my construction people didn't want to pay for my skills either. Yeah. Hey, we trying to be real, folks. You know. Awesome. Glad it helps. John was saying that was not a rant. It was just the truth. Hey, most people call it a rant when they disagree with it. And again, I'm not saying I know everything. It's just that being around this a long time, I say this multiple times. What we do, what you do, yes, you, the one who you don't think I'm talking to, you, what you're doing is important. Whether your church gives two craps about what you're doing or not, it is important because God assigned you for that given situation. What I was told, and I love this, when God called you to do what you're doing, he did not set up a Zoom call and he did not set up a conference call. He called you. He didn't call anybody else to give you permission to do what you're doing. So if you have a desire to do this, you don't need to check with no other person. If you know the way I ain't no Bible scholar, and I'm just going to tell you with me. When I was called to leave music and do media, I knew that. It's on one hand, I can call specifically, I know that God has told me something directly. When that happened, I went and talked to my friend Kyle, and he did not tell me if this was right or wrong. He confirmed with me my belief. There are many times, for at least for me, I'm talking about my spiritual journey. When I go on certain stuff, when I have questions, what is done with me, the environment agrees with me. Like I'll have my prayer journal that I'll write stuff down, and whether it be people I need to talk to from a relationship standpoint, from a business standpoint, or guidance in the directions I need to do, what happens with me, I get confirmation in the environment of what's going on. So like, for example, in the last 3 Sundays, I'll be in prayer about a direction I need to go. Like, be real. My issue right now is there's a lot of stuff in life going on with me right now that I'm, real talk, scared of the direction to do. And what came to me was when God called me and told me to leave my job, leave everything and do media, and he said he would take care of me, I was scared. I didn't know how I was going to be there. Y'all, for some of y'all that don't know my story, I had to live with my sister for 2 years because I was going through a divorce. I didn't have anything. I didn't have a home, lost my job, everything. But all I had was like, wait a minute, God, you told me to do this. So I got to the point when I hit rock bottom, I'm like, hey, God, You told me to do this, so I know you're not a man that you should lie, so I'm just going to trust you. And what you see around here, God set my destination in my GP is because I trusted that that's what God told me to do. So in the next path I'm at right now, I have no idea what's going on with my relationships and business and other directions that I need to go in. All I have to do is just like David, I need to remember what God brought me through. And you said you were going to be with me. I didn't know how I was going to get through it last time. I just trusted you. So that's where I'm at. And again, I don't know why we're going into all this other stuff today, folks, but I mean, I'm just telling y'all, that's where I'm at. Philip Paul, what would you recommend to get an external SSD for the A10 mini stream? What recommendations? Honestly, the ones I pick are the same ones I personally use. The SanDisk, this is actually a 2 terabyte version, but this is the SanDisk Extreme. I've used the 500, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte. This is what I use. That's what I would recommend. I have a Samsung one that I used originally. This is the T5. This is the one that actually goes to this camera, but this is what's connected to my HyperDeck that records. This is what I use as well, too. I actually have one of these SanDisk inside of my Tesla as well, too. That's why I like them so much. Another one from Philip Tall. AJ, do you have any video on the upstream key and downstream key for the software? What that means? Yes, actually, I do. And that's exactly what that video is called as well, too. Let's see. And again, I hope I don't come off like a jerk, because I really wanted to tell y'all that it's like a lot of the stuff that y'all had, I've actually made videos for that same reason. And here you go, the video right there. What is the downstream key or upstream key and how to use them with your ATEM? Boom, it's right there for you. Hopefully that helps you. John Cook. Sorry, AJ, when I made the bump vMix comment, I wasn't live, but somehow back where you were having audio issues. Gotcha. Richard. Ooh, and I'm over time because I know I have a hard stop. I was supposed to stop at 12. I'm going to go for 10 more minutes, and I got to go because I got to drive down to Petersburg to fix that issue, the security camera issue. We only stream to Facebook currently. Why is the audio lagging a little bit on Facebook, but when I record in OBS and play it back, the audio is synced? Yes, I do have audio. That's Facebook. I had the same issue this morning. That's not you. It's Facebook. Cletus, yeah. Do you have a video available that shows the setup of ProPresenter, ATEM, and OBS? I've been looking through your videos and cannot seem to find some. Yes, I do. It was the one I did at Antioch where it was a complete setup that goes over everything. I'm going to try and find it for you. So I think this one right here, a complete church setup, house sound, cameras, lyrics, scripture, everything. That would be the one that would go through it. Yes, that was with the ATEM Mini Pro because the ATEM Mini Extreme didn't exist yet, but it's everything. So going through the chapters, goes through the DSK, presentation setup, everything. Multi-screen, portable monitors, setting up the DSK, testing Proclaim, Worship Extreme, PowerPoint, and ProPresenter. So I go through all of those on that video right there. Thank you, Nigel. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And your question here, it won't show up here yet. Oh, there it goes. Just popped up here. How do you get each channel for an analog mixer to a DAW or electronic mixer on a desktop, then send to that? I would have to defer. Otis, please, if you're still here, can you please help Nigel with that? Because Otis uses a DAW, Chuck uses a DAW live. They know more about that. Even if I wanted to add a DAW in my setup, I don't have enough personnel to do that yet. But I will defer this to the community. And if you are not part of the community, folks, know that you can look up on Facebook, look up Modern Media Ministry Made Easy. It is this 24/7. That is the reason why we had this group together. I run that group with an iron fist. I don't care about your denomination. I do not care. It's about us sharing the knowledge that we have. The biggest trick we've ever been faced with is fighting amongst ourselves. That group is meant to help each other. Whether you are Jewish, you're Protestant, you're Methodist, you're Catholic, blah, blah. Hey, as long as you believe in Jesus Christ as the Son of the living God, and if you accept him for he died for your sins and you accept that, hey, that's the only requirements. All right, that we work together. And honestly, even if you don't believe in what I believe, I still am willing to help you because that's what we're called to do. So anyway, join that group, folks, and that's where this will go on. There's somebody that has the same setup and equipment that you're using, and that's why the group is there. And we're looking to expand some more stuff in the future as well. I'm going to go through about 4 more comments, and then we're going to be up and out. All right. For the poll. Whenever I do live stream to Facebook, starting is all okay, but then when I end the stream on the A2 Mini Pro, it stops, but on the website, it's still live. That's just the nature of it. It's because it's not going to stop instantly. It's because it's catching up. It's about 15 to 20 seconds behind. That is natural for you. John, when it was getting good, my computer would free up. Your testimony is blessed and God is good. Hey, very much so. Very much so. I see the video, so let me go through here. Complete setup. That's the video for that one. And then the upstream key video. I'll post that here as well, too. Last 2. Darius, AJ, I share your rants with others so that they can see that I'm not the only one that feels that way. Keep it up. Hey, thank you. Stephen, thank you so much, folks. Awesome. Hey, you answer the 3 questions, automatically you'll go through. So, again, thank you so much, folks. Like normally I would go a little bit longer, but hey, we've been going on for a minute here and we got a lot of stuff going on. Again, thank y'all so much for sharing this moment of time with me. And hopefully what I've done is helped y'all in some type of ways. I want to give a big shout out to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members. You too can become a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member by clicking a link down below. I do other giveaways. As a supporter in any one of those platforms, you're entered twice in our giveaways. We're going to pull the name of the person who's going to win from our 24-hour Q&A once I get the stuff from YouTube, which is on the 22nd. So I'm going to have a live stream where we actually pick that person, announce it, and go from there. What else? We're going to have our round table because we held off for the Super Bowl. Not that I watched it because I didn't. But we're going to set up something. I might have to change the time by a little bit, maybe by like 30 minutes because I know I'm going to be away and it's going to take me some time to get back here. All that stuff is going to be on the Facebook. If no one has ever told you, folks, thank you for what you're doing. You are doing this for a reason. Whether nobody understands what you're doing or not, there's a reason. There's somebody who's going to be thanking God for what you did. You might not ever hear it, but there is. So realize you're not doing it for man, you're doing it for a higher calling. And sometimes, just like in these situations, I didn't know that this was going to be beneficial. I really didn't. But I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for that I walked out on faith when I didn't know what everything is doing, because I have so much thankfulness in my heart and honestly humbleness about the fact of just being able to help as many as I can. So thank y'all so much. I wish the same thing for y'all. I hope y'all have a great day, evening, afternoon, wherever you is, all over the face of the planet. And we'll be talking with y'all on the next video, folks. Later.